Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Office Hours by the team here at Shift Collaborative. I am Sarah Mayer, and with me today is my partner, Cynthia Closkey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
We've had a really busy week this week, and you in particular, Cynthia, have had a bit of a morning, huh?
It's one of those days where, just nothing goes as expected.
Right.
But so then you take a breath.
You do. Take
And
a
just
breath.
be present in the moment.
Right. So we've been busy, and so we apologize for starting office hours a few minutes late, but we promise we'll make it worth your while. So we are here as part of our weekly live streaming that we do to connect with you all out there and answer what questions you have about all things marketing. So if you are here today and you have questions, you can chat those to us using the YouTube chat here. If you think of a question after the fact or you prefer to stay anonymous, you can also email us your questions to officehours@shiftcollaborative.com. So we hope you do submit those questions, but as always, we have some topics lined up that we're going to talk about, and we're going to start with our first segment, which is things in the news or sort of things that we've been seeing come across our email inbox this week. And so you have a thing today that you want to talk about in relation to Zoom, which we're all on all the time.
Right. It feels like most of the day is on Zoom, or sometimes for us, we use, Google Meet, of course, or even like Slack has their own channel. There's all these different channels. And it seems like every time a client wants to use GoToWebinar, I have to re-download it and re-update it. But anyway, but Zoom has had some big updates because they had some security issues early on, infamously. I didn't experience any of those. Sarah, did you have any Zoom bombings of any meetings that you were in back in the early days of the pandemic?
Yeah, no, I didn't. But I also wasn't. I think that those were happening more so in, like community events that the link was out there on the internet. And most of my Zoom outside of work was with family, where only us. Only the core group was privy to the link. So no, I didn't experience it that, but I do think a few of our team members were a part of one.
Right. And so they had the Zoom app apparently like skirts and goes around some of the security precautions that your computer has. And because of that, it was particularly vulnerable. So they hurried up and did some quick fixes that were like removing the meeting ID from the window
URL
itself. It used to actually be in the window somehow. And because of that, then when people were sort of screen sharing or live sharing a thing like what we're doing right now, for example, we're meeting over Zoom, and then we've connected that Zoom to YouTube. And so that's how we're able to do the live stream. But when people were doing that, someone else who was watching it could see the meeting ID and then join the meeting without having like been invited. So they fixed a bunch of those things, but then they wanted to do one more, really two more fixes that were more invasive than that. Like just removing the thing from the screen doesn't change your ability to attend the meeting if you've been invited. But these two fixes that they wanted to do change it. And so one is having requiring all meetings to have a password. And if you have a free account, automatically they've done that already. But we have a paid account, and so right now we don't have to have a password on any meeting. But they're going to in the future say you either have to have a password, or anyone who tries to join the meeting has to sit in like a virtual waiting room. So it's like I'm here, but I have to wait until the host of the meeting admits me. And so they said, okay, we're going to do that starting, I don't know what the date was, in July. And everybody was like, wait a second, that's a big deal. Like, I've got recurring meetings set up. Like, I've got to talk to my client. I've got to figure out how this works. Where is this waiting room anyway? And so they said, okay, we won't do it until September 27th. And so then we all said fine, and we didn't do anything about it. And now September 27th is coming up. So we just wanted to let everybody know you have to be aware that they're going to all of a sudden have all these waiting rooms. So have you ever experienced the waiting room situation?
I haven't, but and perhaps you have, but I have had to admit people that were in a waiting area, but I've never myself.
Right. I've had to wait in the waiting room, but I've never so far admitted someone in a waiting room. And one of the challenges for us is, like, a lot of times when we've got a recurring meeting, we say anyone who has the link can join. So we're not going to be able to do that anymore. We're going to have to actually like sign on as the host properly of the meeting. So we've got to like shore up our things internally. I don't think I'm revealing anything here that's going to cause a security problem for us. I hope not. But so we've got like a little bit of time to get this fixed, and we just wanted to make sure everybody else is aware of it too.
Now, with that password, can you tell? Can you make up your own, or do they give you them? Do they assign?
You can make up your own password. It can be a word that you want to use, like a real actual word. As with regular passwords, it'd be nice to use maybe 2 words that don't make sense together, like I don't know, book, book cup. 2 words that don't make sense but are easy to remember. Like that kind of a thing can make a password a little bit more secure. But it's not. I don't anticipate there's going to be a lot of like bots. But I don't know, like trying to break into meetings, just because meetings only last like an hour. Like it's not like trying to break into a website or something.
But besides being disruptive, like what are the purpose of meeting hacking? Like what are you going to get out of it if you're a hacker?
I'm certain in most cases it is just for the lulls. It's just to be awful, because a lot of the Zoom bombing that happened would be someone would get in there and then they would open up a lot of windows and just kind of wreak havoc. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a streaker at a ball game or something. Like, why are you doing this? Just to make yourself happy, I guess. But I suppose it is possible that someone could hack into a meeting and sit there silently with their, video off, their sound off, and their mic off, and like listen for trade secrets or something. I think it's probably more of an issue for schools and other places where there's children present. Yes. But yeah, I think it's just a mess. So is your son's school using Zoom, or do they have a different system?
They're using Zoom for the live teaching, but they're using Google Classroom for all of the assignments and conversation back and forth and that sort of thing. But yeah, they are using Zoom this year, which last year when they went into the 100% virtual environment, they weren't really using Zoom. Only maybe like he had to get on 2 Zoom calls in the entire 3 months that he was home, but they're using it every day now. So it was a little different. They are starting to rely on it a little bit more.
Okay. Interesting. So I had seen a tweet thread yesterday about where someone was talking about their child. I think it was like a 2nd grade class, where the teacher was suddenly having all of these connection issues, and the class devolved. The teacher got knocked off the class, and it was on Zoom. And so like some child just got all of a sudden appointed host. And
oh my.
That child was doing different things, and then other kids are shouting stuff. And some parent who also happens to be a teacher was like trying to take control, telling everybody, everybody get off the class.
I kind of like imagine that's happening every day, that sort of scenario.
Yeah, 100 times a day.
Yeah, like craziness. Who knows?
Right. So anyway, so we, as we continue to find the strengths and the weaknesses of the Zoom platform and other platforms, this is one adaptation we're going to have to make. It's just, and fortunately, this is a simpler one to do. Just adjusting our protocols for inviting clients to meetings, and also updating, the recurring meetings that happen. So that's my news.
All right. I think the thing that I brought to the table today is more of an ad. So ad of the week. And it's by Ikea, which is, I don't know about you or how you feel about Ikea, but they've been a part of my life since college. I have furniture that I still have from my first apartment. And I just bought some new furniture from Ikea.
I'm using an Ikea table as a desk at this moment. I won't show it to you, but because it will have it go soon. But this is the table. This desk was my sister Laura's desk from, I think, college. So this is, late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's a table they don't use anymore. They don't sell anymore of actual butcher block. So good stuff.
Yeah. And so if you buy maybe the like a little higher, more expensive lines of Ikea, I think those are the ones that last the longest, but also like if you put it together correctly, then it lasts longer as well. I have many things I did not put together correctly, and those came apart fast. So
Ikea has a new ad.
They do. And I think what I find interesting about it is there's for me, a client connection, which is that in the ad, they're, really trying to promote the benefits of healthy sleep habits. And one of our clients is the National Sleep Foundation, and we work with them and from time to time on different campaigns to educate consumers. And so I think it's great that a big brand like IKEA is promoting healthy sleep behavior. Certainly they're also trying to sell beds. But I think it's an interesting ad, and basically the message they show, and we can show it, I guess. They show it's like a tortoise and the hare situation, except the hare is kind of staying out late, not doing the right sleep habits, and the tortoise gets a good night's sleep and is super productive. So it kind of just shows the diverging sleep strategies and what happens to each of the characters.
Can you hear that okay?
A little bit. It's fun music. I think that's one of the things I like about it.
He looks very hip, this hair.
Yes, he is. Got lots of friends, and they encourage him to stay out late at night, and he doesn't get a good night's sleep.
He missed the last bus.
It's a while before you see any IKEA furniture. But then you start to see it.
Is any of this furniture IKEA furniture?
I assume it is. Some of it is. And then we have the tranquil sleep environment of the tortoise, who got a good night's sleep and is ready to greet the day.
I aspire to this, but I have that rug, by the way.
Now that's an IKEA bedroom, like you can tell.
Oh yeah. Oh look, he's gonna run a marathon.
He's gonna run a race. So wonderful.
That's great.
Day.
That's fun.
It is. It's a really fun ad, and they've like any good strategy have complemented it with a lot of social media and some outdoor, and so this is a campaign that is rolling out this weekend through the rest of the month, and I think it's fun. Check it out.
I'm impressed, and I don't know if I will. I hope I remember this tonight at 10 p.m. when I'm supposed to be getting ready for bed, and instead probably I'm not out, like, hip hopping with the bunnies.
Is anybody out doing that?
Probably somebody, but not somebody safe.
Yeah.
But that's great. That's a really cool ad, and I love the humor in it. That was very fun. And just good use of traditional, I guess fable, Aesop's fable, but them updating it to a modern day, and you could see a little bit that it was London, but it could really be anywhere in the world. So that's pretty cool.
I think that the Geo Guesser game in us has us putting it in London, right? Like you saw the bus and the different things that would indicate that you are in London.
Yeah, I think I caught a little bit of an accent in the rap going on too. Maybe that was kind of reading that way for me. So
all the clues.
Cool.
But yeah.
Well, that's fun. So this may be a good time to remind folks watching that we're always interested in seeing great advertising strategies, not just video ads, but anything. Would love any pointers that you've got, any cool things that you've seen or neat things that you've done yourself. Just good content that's out there. We love to admire and elevate what we see and learn from it.
Absolutely.
So today we are going to talk a little bit about a different marketing technique, which is marketing via email. And so in particular, automated emails. And I know, Sarah, you've been in the middle of doing some cool campaigns for clients around email automation.
Yeah, I mean, I think, just to talk about for a second, pull back a little bit, email as a strategy right now. Email, is a part of many people's strategies, marketing strategies. But I think right now, what we as marketers are seeing sort of, globally is that because we as consumers are at home more and not going out as much, we're not like the impulse purchases or things that we might get by just, being out and about shopping, that's not happening. And emails are getting opened at a higher rate, across most verticals. Advertisers and marketers are seeing those rates go up because they have more time to look at their inbox, and perhaps they want that content delivered directly to them, and are more, if that content is customized to them, they're more apt to act on it because they have the time to do so and they can't go out and get it. So they want to just, have you walk them through it and get them to your online store so you can make that purchase if you're a retailer. So we thought it would be just good to talk about one sort of slice of email marketing strategy, which is, automated series. Is that the right word?
I think it's just
sounds
series.
weird.
I don't think it requires an extra is, but you can have all the is you want. Just add them on there, Sarah.
That's just, I'm going to customize this. And so there are, a couple of different strategies that you can take within automation. You can do like a traditional drip campaign, which is, based on perhaps subscribing to an email. So you have a new email subscriber, they just signed up. Why don't we send them a welcome email, tell them a little bit about your company, and then send them another email a few days later about a particular thing that you do or product that you sell. Send them one of your blog posts 3 days later after that. So it's just kind of a successive, like drip, drip, drip. I'm just going to send them emails. And it's not, the trigger is that they became an email newsletter subscriber. But other than that, that just kind of sets up an automated series where you can help them become more familiar with you as a brand and who you are.
I love a drip campaign. I feel like it solves so many marketing communication problems where you get to take all the things you wish that your new prospect or your new client would be aware of, and parcel them out to them in a digestible amount, because people don't want to read long things ever.
They don't.
Especially maybe not now, but giving them small pieces of information, whether you're cultivating that person as a lead or doing something else, means that they are more able to absorb it or to notice the thing that really most applies to them. I mean, we used it once for a client which was a medical office that, for a variety of reasons, had to have a very long time between when you made an appointment and when that appointment happened. And we were having a challenge that people were canceling, like, and when I say a long time, it was like a month and a half, which I think is a situation that's kind of happening a little bit now in some cases too. But at the time, it was just because it was a practice that didn't want to grow beyond a certain size. And anyway, so the point is that they had to have this long delay. And you can imagine this happening for like a contractor or somebody else, where it's like, yes, we want to work with you, you want to work with us, but there's this like built-in delay. And so we started sending out these, once you made your appointment, they would add you to a list and you would receive weekly emails with ways to prepare for your appointment or things that you could do that would like further your health and treatment options. And so that kept the people engaged, reminded them that the appointment was coming, and made sure they got their paperwork in and all the things that they needed to do. But it also was a way just to like start people on a healthful path in the case of this particular thing. So not how you would traditionally use a drip campaign, but a way that like furthered and built the relationship between the patient and the practice.
Yeah, and I mean, technically, they could have sent all the individual information, all those individual emails in one long email, like, here's all the stuff you need to know before you come for your in-person visit. But then, you really lose that opportunity to see, like, first to customize the subject line and, encourage more engagement because they're interested in that particular piece of content that you're providing them. But it allows you to evaluate, the different pieces of content that you're sending them, what's, resonating with people, they're opening it, they're, clicking through to the website to fill out the form, whatever it is. You can't necessarily do that as well if everything's in one email. It just doesn't give you as many opportunities.
Right. It's easy. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed when you get a whole bunch of information. And that's, this is just one super way to fix that problem. And like you say, to know which of the things people actually care about, by the way.
Yeah. So that's what you're describing is like a time-based series. Like they're going to get all the emails. It's, doesn't matter what they do with each individual email. They're going to get all of them. And you're just timing them out from when they make their first appointment to when they actually have their appointment. But then there's also more of a activity-based, like if this, then that, like if there's two things they could do in the email, if they do this thing, like click on a link and go to a page and fill out a form, we're going to take them out of the flow. They don't need to get any more emails until maybe, the next time around. And then if they don't take, the intended action, then they're going to get a series of emails based on that. So it's based on the behavior of their interaction with each of these emails that you're sending them. And then really allows you to customize that and tailor that message based on what they're doing. And so there's those kinds of more logic-based drip campaigns and emails you can send. There's also autoresponders, like automatic emails that, if you sign up for something, you get an automatic, immediate response. And those, a lot of times people don't customize those, which I think is crazy. Like, it's just like the default, whatever comes with the email campaign.
Right. I am driven mad by people not customizing, including the alert that you get, like someone filled out your form, here's the information. There's such an opportunity there to put some useful tools in the email that you receive. In addition, well, when someone's signing up for your newsletter, you can get different information from it. You can put in a link that takes you to their entry. You can look at things in detail. And for goodness sakes, customize your subject line so that it helps you. It's not just new submission from contact form. Like, oh no, I cry.
This is off topic, but sort of in topic, is that I think I forwarded you an email that I got from Vrbo, where it was their like template or something of that nature. And it had all lorem ipsum, and I found that marketer that went out. I have no idea how many people that went out to, but it took them, they finally sent, I think the mistake email with all the lorem ipsum went out on maybe Tuesday, and I didn't get the correction until Thursday evening.
Oh my God, like, I'm going to pull it up for everybody because so we can all, but like simultaneously we can feel sad for whoever it is that lost their job because of this, but I assume anyway, maybe they didn't, I don't know.
They got in big trouble.
Someone screwed up like big time. So let me share this here. Oh, my window won't behave. I tell you what, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it's the day. It's the day. Is it like the 13th?
Well, it is September 11th. I mean, we
It
haven't made a mention of the, the particularness of this particular day. I don't think it's that, but it is a thing. So it looks like, yeah, it arrived. You seem to have gotten it on Wednesday, and this,
Wednesday,
folks, is the actual message. And so you can, I mean, sometimes people say, hey, why is there Latin? And it's not Latin, it's lorem ipsum, it's filler content. And I mean, it literally is the whole way down. It's just,
yes,
it's a nice looking template, for what that's worth.
Yeah, and I was trying to think through, if you look at the subject line, it says something about internal user test 6 months. So does that mean I haven't interacted with them in 6 months and this is the first email they're going to send to me? Because not the best experience. I can't remember the last time. I feel like it's been less than 6 months. So I'm not, anyway, but I can, how do I can show you their
I'll stop sharing.
View online, right? Okay, I will share. So, we made a mistake right out of the gate. That's good to highlight. And then perhaps they put in here what they wanted to put in that other one. They kind of moved on to these different areas. And I will be honest, I clicked on the lakeside. I don't know why that's calling to me right now, but I was like, I think I would like a little bit of relaxing on the lakeside.
Sure.
But anyway, so I think a little off topic of email automation per se, but clearly they had some automation set up that accidentally triggered that test email to go out before it should have.
You can kind of imagine a world where they someone, the conspiracy theorist in one might say, oh, they did that so that you'll open all their messages in the future. But I think that's a little bit too, I don't think that the downsides of it are so steep of people being like, oh my God, these people are idiots.
I feel like if they would have done it on purpose, that the oopsie email would have come a lot sooner, perhaps. But like you're saying, I don't, there's way more downside than upside on mistakes like that. But it's maybe it's a thing. It's a strategy that some people would be willing to use.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we know that people are opening more emails than ever these days, and email marketing does have great impact. There is a certain moment where, like, I pretty often declare email bankruptcy on at least all of the offers and updates that I get, which means that I just close them all. I just throw them all out.
Even
not like client emails. So not the entire inbox, but like, how I use Google's Gmail's, particular tabs, like these are updates, these are promotions, this is important stuff. And so I'll just, throw out like all of the unopened ones for the last 2 weeks.
You'll purge them is what you're saying, like highlight, select all, boom. Yep. Okay, interesting. I don't do that because I have this feeling like there might be interesting content in there. And I have caught myself saying, like, I know I like emails from these folks and I haven't read the last few ones. And every time I read it, I find something interesting. And so I force myself to go in it.
Right.
because I like
I
their
mean, I
stuff.
see your point, but I mean, I only have, life is only so long. And even if they have great content, there's also going to be great content tomorrow. Like if they're consistently delivering great content, I'll use their future content.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but I have heard that call, and I do know that there are people who will literally throw out every email, and they'll just, particularly like if they've gone on vacation or something, including like client and work email, but they have usually made a statement out to everybody saying, hey, I'm not going to open any email I received during this period.
Right.
So if you need something, email me after such and such a date. So, so there are some extremes. So.
Yeah, there are, but I think that kind of veering us back to the automation strategy is that, you need to consider your user base at the heart of that strategy. And if July and August, let's say August in Europe is a time when lots and lots and lots and lots of people go on vacation. And so perhaps you shouldn't be, hitting your audience over the head with emails that month, because they probably aren't going to open them at all. And if they do, well, they might be just automatically deleting them, or if they open them, they're not really having the time to like absorb your message. So you really, need to consider, your audience base and what they're doing and when they're doing it. And then, where are they in the journey from awareness of your product to moving them to action. And what we talked about earlier of like, oh, you just signed up for a newsletter and you're going to get this series of 4 emails. Well, they're at the awareness stage. And so you can most likely give them those 4 emails right in a row, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. But somebody who's further along, you should probably really be thinking about tailoring that experience. What are they thinking? What is their emotional state? What is the information that's going to be the most important for them to see, and how can you serve it up to them in a way that feels like you know them? And that's what really, these automation like workflows and drip campaigns allow you to do in a way that you don't have to individually do that for each person on your email list. As long as you have a good bit of data, and I guess it comes down to your data, but if you have that data, you can segment and kind of get people along these pathways with a couple of clicks in your email system.
Right. As ever, creating content that you yourself would want to read, or that someone really can make use of is core to your strategy.
It sure is.
So why do people, as you've been experiencing the different situations, what are the outcomes that most, that clients are, that companies or brands are typically looking for, do you find?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that first and foremost, companies and organizations would like action, whatever that action might be. It could be, making a purchase or signing up for a service. It could be as easy as picking up the phone and calling them, whatever action is meaningful to that particular business. That's typically, the outcome that, we're looking for. But there are other things. Using emails to connect with your existing customer base, people that have purchased from you before, just, as a way to stay in touch. They may not, depending on your product, they might not need it once a month. They might need it twice a year, but you don't want to lose touch with those people because they've purchased before. So they have a higher likelihood of purchasing again. But if they don't hear from you, they might not purchase again.
You don't really want every connection that they get from you to be a monthly invoice. You'd like to,
right.
You're other things in there. I see.
Yeah. And I mean, like finding, like, again, thinking about, okay, that customer, what do I know about them? What do I know to be true? And then developing that content to say, like, I know that, our client base, our loyal return repeat customers are really interested in videos of cats. So I'm going to send them an email that has a video of a cat. I don't know. I'm just making this up. The point is that, put the content there that you think that they're most likely to interact with.
Great.
And I guess a third reason would just be engagement And, whether that be, asking questions back or interacting in social media, or just, showing them content and having them actually go to it, because they may have not otherwise known that content existed. You might have developed a particular series of blog posts around a topic that would really interest a segment of your email list, and they're not going to maybe find it unless you point them to it. So engagement is another good reason. Can you think of any others that I might be not thinking of?
Well, I mean, I think the point along the line, the point that I would think is most important is that we're not always trying to get a sale in these emails. We're trying to either, move someone along or remind them, just raise the awareness about us. But everything is not sale driven, because sometimes things require, like, the decision process is long or complex. People don't immediately choose to buy, depending on the thing that you're selling, whether it's a service or a product. So knowing that your email may have other goals, you don't always have to have an offer code in there. There might be something else that's going to happen along the way. And so kind of thinking of the bigger pictures is what I'm hearing from these different outcomes. There's more to it than just sales.
I think the other one that's not sales related, but goes towards like customer experience in a way, is that if you're a really small team, having some of these automations set up, just make sure that you're consistently putting out a good customer experience. As an example, if a new customer purchases a product, you can automatically send them, hey, I noticed you just purchased something. How are you enjoying it? Getting that, feedback. And then you can send them another automated email like, hey, if you like that product that you now have had for 3 weeks, would you like to review us on Google? Share your experience with us. So you can create a series of emails that you didn't have to manually do, and that can be triggered by a sale or whatever it might be triggered. So I think the other, maybe it's not an outcome, but kind of an outcome, is it saves time. It saves time for your team. If you're a small team, it allows you to sort of feel like a big team, or have the impression that you have all these people writing and sending emails. So I think that could be another positive.
You can imagine a world too where maybe you're using this in part of your CRM, your customer relationship management system, where you've made a new contact and you want to give them more information, or just say thank you for meeting with me, and so on, and creating both a better workflow, a more consistent brand, so that you're always remembering to send the thank you note because it's always in there. Like those kind of things, if they can be done in a thoughtful way so it doesn't feel forced or boxed or something.
Right. Which, to that point, personalization is really, really, really important in these automated processes. If it comes across, there's personalization, I guess, can go two ways. It can be too creepy if you put too many known factors dynamically in the email. It can be like, oh my gosh, these people know so much about me and my purchase behavior. So I think it's a nuanced thing. You have to be careful. But on the other side, if you don't personalize at all, then it is going to feel like a robot sent it, and people will know it's automated. So there's a real balance in there. Have you ever gotten a real creepy one where they've put in a lot of personal things?
I can't recall one right now. Have you gotten one?
No, I haven't. What I have received is a very, very, very fast personalized one where I didn't even buy anything, but I had interacted with a few pages on a website, and then I immediately got an email based on marketing that product. It's like a remarketing email. And so we, just for those folks on the call, you can go on a shopping site or any site and interact with something and not buy it, put it in your cart and leave it, abandoned cart. And then you suddenly see those shoes following you around in every single place that you interact with on the internet. That has happened. But then when it starts getting into my email, I'm like, wow, that's another level of remarketing.
And it's tricky too, because, you know, sometimes that'll happen, particularly lately. I've been noticing that I'll get an email saying, oh, by the way, that's on sale now, or we're out of, we're about to be out of stock. There's only 2 left. John Kluvog shoes will do that. You know, if you have like favorited a pair of shoes, they'll tell you, hey, there's only 2 of these available. Like, I mean, back off that, man.
Yeah, I'm not ready to buy.
I only looked
or maybe
at them.
you are. Yeah, I mean, if you favorited them, maybe you are ready to buy. Who knows? I mean, that's the thing about, you know, the data. It's it really like a good email strip campaign or any campaign is really predicated on clean data and having that knowledge, going back to that, like the consumer and the customer is at the heart of all that you do. But when it comes to personalization and email, like that data has to be correct. Like, you know, dear, my name is Sarah, but my middle name is Jean. I've definitely gotten dear Jean. Yeah. And so, which, you know, was fine. I think I might have forwarded you. I got dear Matt the other day. Or Mike or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm like,
definitely. I'm just going to throw that up on the screen here too.
It was like,
and we're going to call out. We're going to call out CallRail.
When personalization goes wrong, basically, is what this is an example of.
And I think
a Matt.
And
I knew it was an M name.
Business email. Yeah, but I mean, you're the first. I don't know how many Matts are out there whose email starts with the name Sarah. So. But something is very wrong with CallRail's database at this time. So, Madeline, sorry, we're gonna leave you hanging here.
Yeah, I mean, they're a sizable company and they are a data company. I mean, they're collecting information on phone calls that happen, you know, as a part of a campaign, perhaps. And so, yeah, that's an unfortunate mistake.
I wonder what's going to happen though if you do take a survey to share and share your agency wisdom. Who will have done that? Will it have been Matt or will it have been you? I wonder. So a little bit of a mystery there. I heard your dog Oliver.
I have to hold on. Just hold on for 1 minute. Hold the line. I have somebody at the door. This is so crazy, but hold on.
Go ahead. I'll talk. So this is a good chance to remind folks that we are live here on Friday afternoons from noon to 1, and we're happy to answer any questions or talk about any interesting topics, ad campaigns, marketing fails, anything that might be going on during this time. You can send us information right now in the chat for the video, or you can send us an email at officehours@shiftcollaborative.com. You can send that anytime during the week and we'll save it up for Fridays. Or if you want to reflect back on anything, put a comment in the video after the fact and we'll see that and follow up in a future video. So is everything okay there at the Mayer household?
Yes, the UPS gentleman needed a signature. Okay. Otherwise he would have left it somewhere else and it would have been no barking. But anyway.
Was it an email for Matt?
He asked for Matt. It was really weird. Yeah, no, but yeah, sorry guys, but I'm back. And I think we just have a few more things to cover on this topic. And then we're going to do a little show and tell, or I'm going to do a little how-to using one of the tools that we've been using a little bit more with our clients. So, yeah, so I guess I wanted to just kind of close the loop a little bit on the personalization thing and talk about this, the difference between the data that you use and get in a what's called a multi-channel strategy and versus an omni-channel strategy. So if you would throw up that little graphic, that would be super.
Can do.
And the article that this graphic came out of is a very good article. We should probably link it in it was an informative article, if I thought. So the graphic there on the left that says multi-channel marketing, and I think this is like commonly what we've been doing in marketing since the early days of marketing. Like you have your different channels and you market them, you use them and send out information in them. But the channels aren't necessarily talking to each other. And that means the data isn't necessarily being shared from channel to channel. But in an omni-channel strategy, you integrate that customer's data across all of the channels that they're going to interact with you in. So it's just much more of an integrated, connected, smart, machine learning type of an approach to say, like, okay, this person came into the physical store and they had a certain purchase behavior there, and then we're going to email them based on that, and then we saw that we're going to use that data in the messaging that they receive, from their text alert. And so it's just like really kind of making sure that you're using the data in a smart way across all the channels that you're interacting with the customer with. So
I like this graphic, and thank you to robertkatai.com for making that available for us to use. I do wonder why the multi-channel marketing recipient is smiling and the omni-channel one looks like a zombie. I think that's, they could be smiling too. Could they be
well,
smiling
maybe
bigger?
Yeah, maybe he's just so overwhelmed by the direct targeting of the messaging of
That
the
could be.
brand. He's just overwhelmed.
I think we should just imagine that person smiling too, because
sure.
they would be happy that they're receiving a customized experience,
Right.
and getting the kinds of information that are important to them, as opposed to, back in olden days. I noticed that this marketing, there's like no television in this world, but that's, when you think that the classic broadcast marketing, television ads that are tailored maybe a little bit to certain channels and certain shows and so on, but they're shown to every viewer of a television show, and so it's not customized in the way that right now with the web we're able to do so much more.
So I think that they both have their pluses and minuses, and so many variables go into it, and Robert's article kind of just breaks down sort of what each of those strategies is, and then kind of like what it takes to do either of them. But I think that kind of heading more into the omni-channel direction when you're doing these automations makes a lot of sense, because if a customer gave you their data, they're hoping, I think, that you customize the content moving forward. It's kind of like the unspoken agreement there, or bargain. Like, I'm giving you my email address. Please don't send me stuff that I'm never going to buy or that doesn't interest me. Please, know something about me and customize that experience. So
I'm giving you my information because I think that you have something useful for me. So send that, and don't send me junk that doesn't, literal junk that doesn't apply.
Right, exactly. So, personalization is not always easy, because if you don't have that clean, good data across your, customer base, it's going to be challenging. But, one thing that you could do is just, take a segment of your data that is good, that you have a lot of information about that customer, and, try to develop a campaign, lining up the content that you want to share with that person based on who they are and what they're, where they are in the customer journey. And just start small and see if that kind of approach will work, and you can scale up from there and know, okay, this is the kind of data that we need across everywhere in order to utilize this strategy. So I think we preach test a lot, test this, test that, A/B this, A/B that. And I think that it applies to this scenario as well.
Absolutely. And just one more note of caution is that make sure you're always allowing people to opt out, to excuse themselves from this process, because otherwise, number one, you're breaking a law, that there are regulations around email, because it is so much, on the surface lower cost than physical mail is. You don't have to print anything, you don't incur all those costs. But so you don't want to break the law, but you also don't want to hurt the reputation of your brand by causing trouble for people who are just no longer interested in what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. True. True story.
So we've used like a bunch of different tools to go about this. And by the way, all those tools do allow us to do the, to use the data that they've got, make the most of it, and also to, practice good email hygiene, like handle bounces, handle unsubscribes, and stay on the up and up. What's your favorite these days, Sarah? What are you finding most effective?
So in terms of the tool that enables us to do a lot of different types of drip campaigns and different series is Zoho campaigns. Zoho in general, you may have heard of Zoho, you might know their CRM, or you might know they have a ton of products inside of, their suite. And, kind of at the heart of many of them is data. So, if you're using their CRM product, you can easily sync that data into campaigns. So we've been using it a lot with clients that are running lead generation campaigns, advertising campaigns, where, somebody fills out a form, that information comes into the CRM side, and then the CRM, certain activity happens there that then triggers an email series. So, so we've been using Zoho campaigns with a couple of clients to success and have enjoyed, learning more about that tool. How about you?
So I've used in the past MailChimp more than I haven't. There was, Zoho has been around for a pretty long time. So there was a point in the more distant past when I had played with it a little bit, but been using MailChimp more now for setting up, systemized campaigns and logic and so on. And I know that Salesforce obviously is a big player in this space too, although I haven't really played with that marketing very much.
Yeah. There's a lot of companies out there that, you may have purchased it from a marketing standpoint, have purchased some piece of the software. And it seems like a lot of these larger companies have expanded over time to have all of these tools so that you could really, like with Zoho, we have one client who's moving everything into Zoho because they're finding that it's just that one-stop comprehensive shop, and it's saving them money. Like they're moving their customer support, they're with another company and they're moving it to Zoho Desk, and just moving everything in there to have it, to make it easier for their team and have everything in one place. But not an ad for Zoho, I swear, but kind of by accident.
Sure.
So we thought we would maybe do a little how-to. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, are you going to have to do this part here, because I think
yes,
you've got all your stuff on your screen?
Yes, I am. So let me get to the screen. Okay. All right. So I'm just kind of use a scenario. We're gonna talk about an activity-based workflow today. On the screen, there are, as you can see in Zoho campaigns, a number of types of workflows that you can create. And if you are just starting to use Zoho and you normally land on the dashboard, and then from the left-hand navigation here, you see automation, and you can normally a little menu will pop out, but it's not popping out right now, with either workflows or autoresponders. And so I've chosen workflows in this case. And so we're going to imagine that my client Jane we have helped her to embed a new sign-up form in her website to collect email addresses. And, she wants to stay in touch with them, and she wants to make sure that they receive some information about her company, because they've indicated some interest. So we're going to set up an activity-based workflow. So let me just go back here to the main page. So you would, if you hit workflow from the automation menu there, you would come here and you would click create workflow. And then you would see you would be confronted with all of these different situations. But what you want to do is click an activity-based workflow, which I'm not seeing. You seeing it? It's usually up here.
I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's the type of account that we're logged into here.
Well, let's see here. I will find it. It's in here. Haha. Here we go.
Okay.
Sorry. Like I know it's in here.
I know it's there.
So you name it, of course it's defaulting into all of my autofills, but you would name that campaign, something relevant to the situation, perhaps, new subscriber, they just entered their email perhaps. And then you are going to set up the criteria. So if they, maybe it's email address here. There we go. So you can add in this different criteria based on, where they've signed up or how they've signed up or a time-based, situation. And then, depending on what that criteria is, then you can set up, one of these actions. So if this contact email equals this, or, if the contact is from a certain state or from a certain city, or, some sort of information that, you can gather from that form. Or this can come over from the CRM as well. So you might have a lot of information on the CRM that can sync into these criteria. So then you would set up what sorts of what do you want to happen? So you add them to a list, or you update their fields, or you add a webhook, all of these different types of things you can do. So if they give us their information, maybe we want to add them to a new subscriber list. So we create a new mailing list, or we already have that mailing list existing and we go ahead and do that. And then you activate it. And then once you activate it, it therefore exists all by itself. So when a person meets the criteria, then that action is going to happen all by itself. And so you can kind of, see then that you don't have to, as an example, manually add people to your newsletter every month. It's going to automatically add these people if that's sort of the activity that you want to trigger the automation. And let's just say that that is, then you don't have to worry about, oh, did all those new leads that came in from my website, are they on my newsletter list? They automatically are. You can certainly spot check it, but this just allows you to create that connection between the two.
That's great. And it seemed like, I mean, this is, you're obviously customizing this from the start, but back at that list of possible automations, there were a lot of very common ones that seemed intelligent for someone to choose from.
Yeah,
like
some of them
onboarding and
so which we talked about a little bit. And you can see, you can in Zoho, you can create based on the template that they have here, and then obviously customize it for your situation. Or you can create a custom workflow from scratch, not using their templates. I find the templates helpful, but it's just, I think it does some of the work, but then you have to customize it for the situation. And then you can save that customized version of their template for the future. And then you don't have to, do that again, which is nice. They have a library of your own saved templates that you've created. So it's just nice. And it's really fun. Like, I don't want to go into the weeds because it's after 1, but like that follow-up series that we were talking about would look something like this, or the welcome series would look something like this. And it just, so here's the online submission, they just joined your email list, and here's a message you can send them. You can choose how many days. Is there a delay? Do you send it right away? And then you can add more things in there, or just push it to your CRM, whatever you want to do with it.
That looks very easy and intuitive to use, too. Very cool.
Most of the time it's intuitive, and if it's not, it's my own fault. Usually.
I'm sure that's not true. Well, that's so cool. So I hope that folks are either intrigued by these kind of ideas, or thinking about how that might fit into their other marketing strategies, or maybe they've got some great ideas that we would love to hear more about. Is there some way that you're using email automation to really get some great results, whether it's moving people along their customer journey or maintaining customer retention, keeping customer retention high, that kind of thing. So share with us, tell us more. officehours@shiftcollaborative.com. I think that might be enough for us this week. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, I think that we've talked a lot, and we're good. We can come back next week.
Sounds great. Everybody have a great weekend and a good week. We'll see you next time. Bye.